Good evening, everybody. What is up? Welcome to Wine Down Wednesday with Amelia and Felix. We are here every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, talking about topics that matter to you. And we invite you to wine down with us, which basically means make your favorite cup of tea, or pour your favorite glass of wine or liquor, whatever makes you feel good, and wine down with us tonight. So as you're popping on, I can already see people are coming on. Please say hello in the comments. Yeah. That's the way that we definitely know that you're here to interact with us. And if you're catching the replay, please give us a hashtag replay in the comments. I'm just pulling it up on my phone here.
You know what I really like? I really like just like sipping tea and just like letting.
Well, yeah, tell us what you're drinking.
Well, I'm having two teas. I'm having the CBD tea, and then I'm having like a nighttime tea. And I like this tea because it gives me a little wisdom, with it. So it says, happiness is actually an art of living, which is in us. It's really nice.
Shamik is in the building. What's up, Shamik?
What up, Shamik?
Who else is here? I see 4 people are on. 5 people. Say hello. Welcome to Wine Down Wednesday. If this is your first time here, welcome. Felix and I are here every Wednesday night. What is that?
I'm just showing off.
You're a cap. Oh wait, I had a different mug before. It was funny, but I washed it. Yeah. Hey, Shamik. So if it's your first time here, welcome. Felix and I are here every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we are talking about topics that matter to you. And we invite you to join the conversation. Please let us know what you're drinking. I actually have not been drinking the last few weeks. Hey, Megan. Hey, Shamik. I usually have been doing tea or water, but tonight my sister made me a bourbon, and it says Hennessy, but it's not Hennessy. But she made me a bourbon and calamansi drink. So calamansi is like a Filipino citrus fruit, and it's delicious, and it's Maker's Mark, and it's going down real smooth. So
you got that good shit. Okay.
We will see how this live goes. And let's see, what are we talking about tonight? Tonight we are talking about how to navigate intense emotions. So last week we talked about Mercury going retrograde and how to best navigate that time in the cosmos. And I actually, if you want to watch the replay of that, definitely go find it. I can give you the link if you can't find it. But if you just go to my page and click on photos and then videos, you should be able to find it. But I actually share my screen and teach you how to read your charts and see which area of your life Mercury retrograde is going to be impacting you. And so Shamik, thank you so much for asking. Shamik is asking, why did you choose this topic? So to explain why we chose this topic, Mercury has gone retrograde in the sign of Cancer. Cancer, and right now it's Cancer season. It became Cancer season on June 21st, and it will be Cancer season until July 22nd. And usually during Cancer season, Cancer is a water sign. It's known for bringing up a lot of emotions. And so every single sign has their attributes when they're in balance and healthy, or when they're out of balance and maybe not so healthy. So when Cancer is in balance and when she's at her best, she is nurturing, maternal, intuitive, go with the flow, and just very comforting. Like Cancerians, I'm a Cancer sun sign. Cancerians are very much about the home and about being just very homely and nurturing type of energy. But if you think about water, so when water is in balance or when it feels good, right, it's like bath water. You can relax in it. It feels good. It feels nice and soothing. But when water is out of balance, you can think of tsunamis, hurricanes, monsoons, typhoons, all the oons. And so at Cancer's worst, she can be very intense, very hard to navigate, and just very, very overwhelming. Hi, Jane. Hey, everyone. As you're popping on, please say hello in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, give us a hashtag replay. So yeah, Shamik, does that answer your question? That's why we chose this topic. Also, personally, I've been going through a lot of really intense emotions these last few days, and I've been having to navigate them. And I know a lot of people in my world have been going through intense emotions, and I know because we've been talking about it. And how about you, Felix? Have you been going through intense? What's been going on for you?
We have time for that. Okay.
I'll send you a bill later.
I don't know if it's intense emotions. For me, it's just emotions. And
hey, Kat.
What?
Agnes is here.
Agnieszka?
Yes.
Oh wow. I don't know. It's been like.
Shamik says, "Spill your tea." Spill your tea, Felix.
I've just been wanting a break from everything. A break from like what's normal. A break from like everything that we're doing. A break from this whole pandemic. And I've been restless and tired. And like I'm not producing enough. And right now, like, I just want to be at a beach with a drink and just like let go of everything. Like you know, like I joked about it. Like I just want to like die for 2 days and like be resuscitated afterwards. Like I just want to like not be conscious. Like because I've been so like up. Like I've been restless, so I've been up for so long.
Yeah.
And I just need to kind of like let go of.
Yeah.
These identities I've built, these stories I've built, and you know, so I'm actually planning for. I know I'm mad intense. Like I know I'm like I'm dramatic to say like I want to die and like be resuscitated, but I know what I actually need. I actually need to step away from my normal.
Yeah.
So much so that you know it's to the point where I can't sleep anymore. So I need to find a way. I need a vacation, basically.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things that I want to say to that, and everything that you're saying is very characteristic of how people typically feel or can feel during Mercury retrograde. So
I'm right on point.
Exactly, you're right on point. And for those of you that are watching, if you can relate to how Felix is feeling, I definitely want to hear it in the comments, or, you know, what intense emotions are you navigating right now or not navigating? I would love to hear in the comments what's going on for you. But yeah, you're right on time. And last week we were talking about Mercury retrograde, and we were talking about astrology in general and how some people might not believe in it. But the way that I was describing it is that it's like knowing the weather. You know, it's astrology doesn't control us, just like the weather doesn't control us. But it's good to know if it's going to be raining, so that you need to bring a raincoat or wear rain boots. And so knowing that Mercury retrograde is coming, knowing that Cancer season is coming, knowing that Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Cancer, and knowing that Cancer is a very emotional sign. It's the element of water. It's normal for it to be bringing up emotions and the watery things in life, right? So like I said, on a balanced, healthy level, it's like nurturing, it's connected, it's maternal, it's soothing, it feels good, like bath water, right? But on an unhealthy or unbalanced state, it's intense and it can feel like getting lost in the undertow. So I just want to say you're right on time, because you said something about I need to step away, I need to reevaluate, and like look at these identities. Mercury retrograde or any retrograde is about that. So the way that you can remember it is like retrograde, R-E, the letters R-E, release, reset, and what's the third?
You know what it is?
Renew, release, reset, and renew.
You know what it is? I think I know, like, and speaking about it and reflecting on it, I honestly think is that I've taken on so much and it's become so like repetitive, and I'm doing like the same stuff, and I'm building on kind of like, it's just that like I have so much on my plate, and I just, there's kind of like this expectation, and like I love it. I'm love that I'm growing personally, financially, in my relationships, in many different places, right? And there's definitely more opportunities, but I just kind of like don't want to deal with that. You know, like,
well,
you know, like
I have more for you.
Where you're like growing and growing and growing, and it's like, yo, let me chill here for a little bit. Like, so I've been doing so much growing, and like I feel the growing pains, you know, like there's parts of me that I've let go, and like I just I just like, I know I'm gonna be a better self and whatever, like later on, but right now, like this feels good. I want to enjoy this.
Yeah.
You know?
Shamik is requesting examples. So while you're thinking of examples, I have more for you in the weather of astrology cosmos, okay? So I don't know, hold on. Since yesterday, I'm like trying to calculate hours in my head. Actually, since 1:34 a.m. yesterday or this morning, I don't know, whatever. For 36 hours, there's a 36-hour window where the moon is known as void of course. And I'm not even going to try to explain that, but basically it's like there's no other planetarial influences, and the moon is essentially just like by itself in the sign of Leo right now. And so basically, essentially, what does this mean? This is from the astrology on Instagram. Void moon. The moon isn't working, so neither should you. When the moon is void, it is drifting, wandering without an agenda. It's best not to initiate new things when the moon is void, because the moon is not working towards anything. Hold off on shopping, including groceries, if you can, as food can tend to spoil or go unused when purchased during moon void. Items tend to be returned, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, okay, yeah. Instead, utilize this time for catching up with work, cleaning or reorganizing your space. It says getting high, sitting in nature, immerse yourself in prayer or ritual.
Like getting high?
Yeah, I mean, this is Instagram. Okay. Creative pursuits like drawing. Felix is like, check.
No, because I'm like, okay, I'm doing that.
Painting, drawing, sculpting, coloring, taking a long shower, making love, napping, cooking, meditating. Allow yourself to find some calm, some ease. So it's, again, thinking of astrology as like knowing the weather. The moon is void right now, and so it's normal that if you are feeling kind of like meh, it's normal to feel that way. So you're right on time, Felix. You're right on time. By the way, we had a few other people join us here in the building. We've got Raul. Hey, Raul. Hey, Edwin. I said hi to Kat. Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa. Oh, hey, Cindy. So, yeah. What specifically are you struggling with? You can say it. You don't have to type it.
Oh, I was typing it. No, I can tell you. Okay, so I am struggling, and this is gonna sound like first world problem, but I'm struggling with, like, for me, finances has always been a conversation, and there's been a major scarcity. And right now I'm at a point where I'm not there, so I'm struggling with letting go of the identity of struggle. I'm struggling with like having enough money. Like, I have enough money to not work for a long time. So like I've gotten like complacent. So I'm struggling with knowing that I can do better. I'm struggling with I'm struggling with my own fitness and health. I know that sounds like as a fitness coach, but yeah, we all struggle with that shit. I'm struggling. Like today, I went on a 10K run at 2 p.m. and I was like, yo, this shit fucking sucks. It was mad hot. And I was like, okay, so I need to start doing this in the morning or train to run in the heat. So I'm struggling with getting my work out.
Like your work out into the world?
Yeah. I'm struggling with like self-criticism, paralysis of like actually starting to offer my programs. So, and I know like it's part of the process, but it's been tough. So, I'm using like a lot of it is like working together, right? So like my financial situation kind of enables me. So I have to kind of like I need to work through that mentally because I, I don't want to depend on what I already have in order to create what I want to create. Because what I'm creating is not for me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're included in that. I think it's
I
for you.
am. Yeah, absolutely. But I really want to genuinely. I think there's people that need what I'm bringing.
Yeah. Well, again, all of that makes sense still because, like, again, Mercury is the planet of communication. And so Mercury retrograde is often a time in general where people are having an opportunity to reevaluate their communication and how they want to show up in the world. And I just looked up your chart. So your Mercury retrograde is affecting your 9th house, which is the house of higher learning. And it rules your higher learning, including your spiritual understanding, expansion of your belief systems, and personal philosophies. So
look at
all
that.
of that, yeah, all of that makes a lot of sense. So this is what you're reevaluating. This is what you're resetting. This is what you're relearning through this retrograde. And yeah, resetting, reevaluating is super, super uncomfortable. And I think all of that is tied, right? Like our voice. So our throat chakra is actually tied to our sacral chakra. And sacral chakra is like sexuality, creativity, sex and creativity kind of go together. And then our voice, our throat chakra is how we express that into the world. And so they're very much tied, and voice, communication, Mercury. So it all makes sense. And a lot of times money is also tied to sexuality and creativity. You know, they say if you want to make more money, have more better, not more better sex and more better creativity. So okay,
So
asking a question.
yeah. So he's like, can you see your financial situation as deep roots to help sprout you? So I have a yeah and no, like, it's not like there's like it's gray in between. So for me, finances has always been and now it's always been a struggle, had always been a struggle. And right now I speak with my hands a lot. Right now,
I think we all know this by now.
right now I'm in a very unique position that I've never been before, and I'm in a position to invest in myself. I'm not rich, but I'm in a very unique situation because I can actually invest in myself, and it feels really good. I don't think that finance is like I don't think that's it for me. I'm not motivated by money. So I love money. I'm just not motivated by it. So I'm motivated by heart. I'm motivated by growth, and I'm motivated by relationships. I like to relate. I like to make jokes. I like to have fun. I like to make things. I like to make difficult situations feel easy. I like to solve problems, and that's what I do with my work. I make something that's really tough, and I break it down, and I make it easy. I
So
make
where's
it
the
digestible.
disconnect with all of that and money? Like, because
So
I
for
really want to, I'm so glad we're talking about money, because aside from relationships, money is like my other favorite thing to talk about.
yeah,
Like, what's coming up for you around money?
so I had this thing, like it was like an aha moment where like I work client based, right? So my money is directly related to my relationships and how long I can maintain my relationships. So it's not about my financial situations is directly rooted in how well I can relate and how well I can maintain relationships. And that's actually that has been my struggle. I actually realized that it wasn't finances where I was having trouble. It was relationships, especially the most important relationship with myself
Oh,
and self-love.
love.
Self-love. No, like, listen, like I can tell you, 2017, I broke up with my ex. I didn't let I went on a mission to like of self-love. And even now, like it's still there's still work. There's still those voices, those residual voices that I struggle with. Um,
Yeah.
where there are seasons where they're tougher to fight, you know. So um, for me, it's about relationships.
Well,
And
I love that. So one of the best ways that I like, hey Sean, that I love to think about money is as a relationship, right? And so something that I kind of play with is like talking to money, right? And like this concept of money is my lover, but maybe I'm not ready for lover yet. So first I start with like money is my acquaintance, and then money is my friend. And I have this journaling exercise that actually I give my clients where it's a series of money questions where you actually journal with money and you're like, okay, hey money, what do I think about you? What do you think about me? How can I have more of you? How can I have a better relationship with you? And it's just really interesting what comes up. And I do that journaling exercise probably, I don't know, once a month, maybe once a quarter. And it's just interesting to see how my relationship with money grows. And so I love that, like, you're tying the concept of relations, and that concept won't necessarily land for everyone, but
yeah,
when I first did that, so when I was working with my hypnotherapist and I was doing these money journaling exercises, when I was like, money, what do you think of me? Money was like, girl, like, I'm trying to get at you. It's kind of like that. Like, I'm trying to get in there, like, but you're scared of me, And then I was like, well, what do I think of you? And it's like, you're scared of me for some reason. You feel like you can't hold on to me, which actually, now that I'm replaying this, I'm like, dang, that's also kind of related to my relationship issues sometimes. So they're very, very in alignment. And when I asked, money, how can I have more of you? This is like the first time I did this exercise, and it was like, I want to be your friend. Oh my God, cats. I'm not even going to read this, but I'm going to just show y'all what Kat just said.
mm-hmm.
Yes, schedule a booty call with money. And it's just really interesting to create this relationship with money. The other piece that I love is like telling people, like, handle cash, handle currency, like have it like in your hand, have the feel of it, because money is energy. And if you're repelling it in any way, then it's not going to come to you. And I think it's just a beautiful journey to start on, to like see your relationship with money as a relationship, and we've all had, maybe we haven't all had romantic relationships, but if you've had a romantic relationship, a relationship with a new niece or a new friend, like, how do you cultivate that? How do you get to know each other better? How do you let each other in a little bit more? How do you, yeah. And then like that, you know, how do you get in there? How do you make money your lover? So I don't know. What do you think about that, Felix?
No, I like that idea. I think right. So like a lot of us want to have the things, right? We want to have the relationship, we want to have the money, the cars, the whatever it is. But there's a process to it. So anything that takes you into thinking about it and imagining and you know, envisioning allows you to be creative, which then it brings the idea to you, right? It attracts the idea to you. So I love the idea that you're having a conversation because now you're making it real. Even though it's not physical, the thing about your subconscious is that it doesn't know whether something is tangibly physical, real, or not. Like whatever you feed your mind, your subconscious, is just gonna take it and roll with it. So if you say I'm a money magnet, or if you say like I'm good with money, even if you're not presently, you will start beginning to have the experience. And it's not that whole fake it till you make it. You want to like feel it in your body. When you start
Yes.
feeling it in your body, there's a and this is kind of like, so one of the reasons why I am actually so worked and like struggling is because I'm actually like, a lot of the work I'm doing is around identity and self-value and beliefs, and it's a lot of work, right, to like let go of things and take on things. And I actually just learned that there's actually no separation between your mind and your body, right? Because if you think about it, where's your mind? So a lot of us would think our mind is here.
Your brain is.
Well, your brain only, what your brain does is that it translates, it translates. I'm not gonna get it. It translates whatever the world, how whatever the world is showing. But your mind is really in every cell of your body. Your mind is it's and your mind and your body are not separate.
Yeah. There's some really good questions going on here. So Shamika's saying, I'm feeling a gay brown ceiling at my job. And I'm a money magnet, but we live in a racist limiting society as well. So opportunities are not distributed equally. How can we overcome this as people of color? Shamika, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. But so for me, I'm well aware that there's a gender pay gap. I'm well aware that there's a lot of gaps in a racist society. But to be honest, I choose to opt out of that program. I mean, I left Wall Street, which was a super cushy, high paying job. And I left that because I wanted to circumvent that and create my own reality. And so I don't know where all of you are at in terms of like the metaphysics of money and the energy of money and the understanding of, you know, that whole piece of it. But to me, I want to circumvent that structure because I'm not going to get to where I want to go within that structure. And that was just my journey. And I think I've told this story before, but it was, you know, I remember sitting at my cubicle and I had already been promoted to assistant vice president at the bank. And, you know, so what's next? Keep climbing up the ladder. So what's next? Okay, work until I get VP, and then work until I get MD, and then maybe head up a department or whatever the hell. And I remember sitting at that cubicle and just looking around, and like people who I loved and respected, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, I enjoyed where I was relatively. But I think that there was a deeper part of me that knew that something bigger was possible. or that something, maybe not, let me not say bigger to imply better, but just something better for me. And when I realized that I had no desire to climb up that ladder to the VP, MD, whatever level, I was like, what is there really for me here? And I didn't know the answers to the questions that were coming up, but I was just like, is there a way? Are there people who are actually happy? Are there people who are actually happy and making a lot of money? Are there people who have actually circumvented this? And so I think it's a balance between understanding and realizing and knowing the actual socioeconomic barriers that do limit us, and also realizing that there is a different reality that we can create. And whether you choose to believe in that, I think is on you, is on any person. And I choose to believe that. I actually, one of my favorite affirmations is about money is, I am receiving cash and income from new and exciting places. And I remember, I didn't make that one up, but I remember when I heard that and I started repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And I even had it on a Post-it, and I even wrote it like on my mirror in dry erase. I am receiving cash and income from new and exciting places. And I had it as an alarm on my phone, like, and it would go like clockwork 3 times a day. And actually Kat knows about one of my alarms. One of my alarms was, I am worthy, productive, and joyful, because that was when I was feeling a moon void of course, and just feeling like a sad potato. But I had this affirmation that I repeated every night. And there was a point where I was even writing it down multiple times. I would say I wrote it down maybe 3 to 10 times a night before I went to bed. And that summer that I started saying that phrase, I had won tens of thousands of dollars on game shows. I got checks in the mail for like shit that I didn't even know. And like, even, I think I even got like, I don't know if some of y'all that were clients of Sephora, but there was some sort of class action something. And like, we all got like 26 cents or like $2 or whatever. But like, I remember getting that check in the mail and I was like, yo, like $2. And that same summer, I got casted to be on this national car commercial. And we got like $30,000 each. And that was just checks coming in the mail. Like, and it was like Christmas. It would be like $5,000, and then it would be $2,000, and then it was like $10,000, and it would just keep, the money just kept coming in. And it was from new and exciting places. It was from places that I wouldn't have even thought to ask for, but the opportunities were coming in. And because my energy was open, and because I decided to opt out of that program, it gave me the ability to see the opportunities when they were coming to me, right? And to say yes, and to trust my intuition enough to say yes. So yes, while there may be a brown gay ceiling at your job, there are no ceilings outside of that job. And I know that because I've seen it in my own life, and I've seen it in other people's lives. You know, there are people that are like, there's money everywhere, like literally everywhere. And as uncomfortable as it might make you feel to think about that, it's just, you know, are you willing to open up your energy and your mind and your thoughts to like the possibilities? And it's just crazy. It's crazy how that works and how the subconscious programming works. Yes, Kat, I am worthy, productive, and hardworking. So I think the other thing too that I want to say, like, as people of color, I'm just going to say it, whatever. There is a grit in our blood that I think through colonization, through millennia of being tortured and brainwashed out of our power, we've forgotten that. Because there's like a certain something that when we decide to do something, when we bring our culture and our creativity to something, like, the opportunities are limitless. I really, really believe that, you know, and I also relate to what you said earlier, Felix, about like, yeah, okay, I say I believe that, but And it's not that I don't have my days where like I hit against my walls around that, right? Like right now I'm in a similar position as you where like it's go time. Like I'm like ready to launch something. I've got a full-time assistant coming on to work for me. And it's just like, I got to show up. And the piece that I wanted to say about that, because you brought up self-love and self-worth, income, like the money coming in is the emotional equivalent of your self-worth and of your self-love. How much do you think you're worth? And you need to claim that. This is what I'm worth. This is what I'm claiming. And sometimes even that claim alone is difficult to get to because there's so much shit in the way. And especially like Shamika, as you're asking about for people of color, we have a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma in our ancestral lines and in all of that. And so, and that trauma came from because people wanted to attack us because of our power and because of what we did have and our culture and our blood and our grit and all of that. And so I think that there's a cellular memory of like, I want to hide or I want to be less visible because being powerful causes me pain or brings me enemies. Which can be true, but it's like, what are you choosing to focus on, right? Like that parable of like, with the two wolves, and it was like, which one survives? It's like
do you feed? Yeah, I feel you in that.
Yeah,
a lot of my work is around like actually like going for it, like without and like eliminating that fear of like, you know, what would happen if I were to be successful. So I can relate to that.
Ooh, I love that you brought that up. What would happen if because it's like, yeah, but, and I think you were talking about shedding the identities, right? It's like, for me, it's like ultimate responsibility, right? Because if I actually step into my power and be successful and jump in, miss you too, Agnes, then who will I be? You know? And funny, one of my business mentors, I went to a conference and she gives out these panties because it's all an all women's conference, and she gives out these panties
Nice.
that say like panties. Big girl. Yeah, me too. That say big girl undies on them. And she's like, all right, ladies, grab your undies and put them on. And like, for me, that's why I jumped in to invest in hiring a full-time assistant. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm scared to death. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm excited. But it's like, am I going to be a CEO or am I going to be a CEO? Like, am I going to, and again, I love how you put it too, like, it's not about us either. So it's like, it's selfish to not step into our power, because stepping into our power is how we have the most impact, how we have the most influence. And especially as people of color, back to Shamik's question, the world needs more people of color stepping into their power. More, all of us. And there's no glory in being invisible. And there's no glory in not believing in yourself. And Rafael is in the building.
What up, my peeps?
And look at him, looking like he's about to go. Wait, hold on. It's salsa night.
It's salsa
night.
It's salsa night.
Yo, leave me alone. I went outside. I went to a restaurant. I sat outside. I had a glass of wine.
Nice.
I feel 400%
amazing. 400% markup.
Cheers.
Not free?
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, Raf, we're talking about money. And we're talking about self-worth and how income is directly related to the amount of self-worth you have. We're talking about, you know, how as people of color do we create abundance in a racist system that wants to keep us down. So we've been talking about circumventing that and all of things. Oh my God, Jake is in the building. Like literally every single person I love in the world is in the building. Raul, do you want to get in here? Get in here. So I'm just so happy. But anyway, we're talking about money. And so I guess, Rafael, yeah, where are you at in terms of money and belief? And like,
how much money do you have in your bank account?
bank because the ladies want to know.
How much money do I make?
No.
You don't have to answer
like,
that.
Where are you at? We're talking about like money and belief systems and being a person of color in a racist society and money as energy and money as a relationship. We're talking about a lot of different things. So around that. So just
yeah, I'll start off by if Felix hasn't brought this up, but with the men's work that I do, right? There is a huge correlation with the confidence that a man exudes and his bank account, right?
So true.
I'm bringing Raul on.
What's up?
What's up, Raul?
Say that again, Rafael. I think the world needs to hear it.
What I said was, I said there's a large correlation between a man's self-esteem, self-worth, and the size of his bank account, like how he's doing financially.
Absolutely.
Like that whole thing about having, credit. It's a big thing. Credit is not just can you buy a house. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you're financially stable, which is something that women look for. Women and men look for stability, right? It doesn't really matter what it is you're doing, as long as you're passionate about what you're doing, you're an honest man. But also, can you provide stability? Are you someone that, like when women see abs, it's not just that it looks good, it's they also understand, unless you're genetically blessed, that you put a lot of time and energy into it. Abs, okay, so he's dedicated. What else is he dedicated to?
Yes.
His crunches. Honestly, abs, I guess, tell me that much, but they also don't tell me much. So thanks for telling me.
You don't want to see some? You don't want to see none? That's it.
I didn't say I didn't want to see them.
She didn't say all that.
I said, no, I just want to. I feel like a lot of, I don't know, men, women, all genders, whatever, like place so much value on how someone looks.
Yes.
And I know, like, I see people fall all over themselves and just be like, oh my God, this person's the one because they look so good, la 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 la. And I always say, how they look doesn't tell me what's in their heart or their bank account, since you brought it up, Rafael. But it's so, it doesn't really tell me much. But I like what you're saying. What about you, Raul? Where are you at with this whole conversation? You've been on most of this whole time. Did he freeze?
Can he?
Oh, there you go. You're back.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've been listening. Am I frozen up? I see.
No, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Do more arigato.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I align with what you guys are talking about. I mean, I have a different relationship with success, because when we're talking about finances, is an aspect of how people measure success, and people, it's a really touchy topic because, you lay into your self-worth based on what you have in your bank account and where the place that you're living. The most people in cosmopolitan cities where we're kind of adapt to survive, you need to hustle and grind to keep up and stay according to track. I personally don't measure my success based on that. Kind of like what Felix was talking about. I'm not motivated by money that way. Money is not the most important thing in the world. Money touches everything, but it's not the most important thing in the world. And so how do you have a functioning, healthy relationship with this so that you could go amongst your way and actually create the things that you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, that brings up for me is like money is a tool. And so like even though it's not the number one motivating thing, it sounds like for any of us. Well, I don't know about you, Rafael, and I didn't really share, but also it's not the number one motivating thing for me. But we do need the tool to like live in this society, or I think of money as the fuel that brings up for me is like, who is did you say
so
was that you, Rafael?
So are you sorry, go ahead.
By the way, I just want to share Kat coming through as always with her thirst trap comments.
She makes my night. She makes my night all the time.
You're all hella sexy. Thank you, Kat. You're sexy too. I love you.
So I like what one of my mentors said is like, well, first of all, money is not a thing. Money is language, and money is the language of business. right? So it's how we exchange for goods. It's not the money that you want; it's what the money can get you, right? And also, money is oxygen, right? So you can breathe better when you have money in the bank, and also money is speed. Money can also get you to a breakthrough faster. If that could be by coaching, that could be by going to a convention, that could be through any way possible, but it can get you ease, right? So I could say like I can attest like air fryer, get one, because that shit will save you mad time. Now I'm saying like, yo, like,
I know you've been talking about this air fryer for months.
Listen to me. That air fryer, delicious. Food comes out delicious, and it saves me time. I just throw it in there, give it a couple shakes, and that's it. So it gives you ease, right? So things that would take you hours, now you cut the time off because you invested in it. And we all know that time is the unrenewable resource. So if you have to pay to save some time, do it quick.
I love that. Money is speed. What was the first one?
Money is oxygen.
Money is oxygen. Money
is the language of business.
Yes. And we talked about this earlier. Well, we said money is a relationship earlier. So how is your relationship with money? And then also, money is, I don't know if we said this, but I'm going to say it. Money is energy. And one of the things that I learned is, if you can think about money as energy, it's literally an exchange for something received, right? And so I know, let's talk about bills, right? Because we talked about income and money coming in and bills. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, my bill, my credit card bill, my cell phone bill, my rent. The rent is due on the 1st. And there's a lot of like wah about it. But my whole attitude about money as energy changed when I realized that I'm paying this in exchange for something that I've already received, or I'm going to be receiving. And so it's like having gratitude of like, thank you for this cell phone.
Thank you for the lights.
Yeah, thank you for the lights. Thank you for the roof over my head. And it just creates a whole different thing. And like, yeah, Agnes is saying, money is a mindset.
Totes,
totally. Yeah, and you know what comes up for me is that there was one huge shift that I made around money and my bills. Right, this is right after I saw The Secret for the first time, and I started looking at my bills differently because I used to hate bills. And then one month I was like, you know what? Let me just say yes to bills, and I made it a point to go out buck wild crazy when I got a bill in the mail. Yes, my phone bill is here. Yes. My roommates thought I was fucking nuts. My rent is here. Yeah, and I'm paying it. And you know what came out of that, even as absurd as it was at the moment, what came out of that is that I realized that I was grateful. I was grateful for the fact that I had money to pay my bills. And understanding that, it totally shifted my philosophy on bills. Now I look at my bills like, wow, like it's not a strain anymore. Because even though we do it every single month, a lot of us look down on the bills. But how about we're grateful for the fact that we're able to pay bills?
Yeah. Yeah, I got my cell phone bill on auto pay. I was like, I'm that grateful. Like, I don't even want to think about it.
You know what's another thing about that? The way I view this thing is kind of like you need to check your bucket if it has a hole in it, because if we're constantly measure how much we are like our worth based on how much we don't have and how much we want to achieve, and we just disregard and ignore all the progress that we made before. And I'm preaching to the choir here because I know I get absent in doing this myself, to be able to recognize those benchmarks of what that touches. Recognize the abundance in your life. If you just see the absence of abundance, you will always have evidence. But if you actually look back and see, how did we get here? How do we have clothes on our back right now? How are we fed right now? Because we should be grateful for those experiences, because sadly, that's not the true reality for everyone out there. Right. So if we could identify the way that we are abundant, we could then rinse and repeat and start creating more of that in our lives.
Absolutely. Can I say that? You know, I'm gonna say something.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't know how this became a money conversation, but
You brought it up, bro.
I love that it became a money conversation. I want to tell you one thing that changed my life. It changed my life completely, and it was giving money. Just like donating, like looking for opportunities to give. And like it's a practice. Like I'm always looking like whoever, because if you have $1, you can give 10 cents. If you have $100, you can give $10. If you have 1,000, you could give 100. You can always give 10%, and you always have enough to give. So when you have that mentality, that money's energy, yo, it just flows. It just flows. Like I it just, and it's changed my life, like for real. For real.
Man, I just want to say that I'll always give you the opportunity to give money if you want to give, man. I support you full throttle.
Absolutely. No, I will give you money.
And my Venmo is
money. There was somebody on Facebook. I didn't even know her. Her name is like, I'm not gonna say her name.
But she got my money.
I didn't know her, but she was like, "Yo, I'm doing this thing. Give me $2." I was like, "Yo, here, $2." Like, but it was fun. It was like, yo, like I see someone needs, like in the streets, $1. Like it ain't nothing. Like it makes me feel good.
Yeah, I think so. I want to speak to both of the things. So like Raul brought up abundance, and it reminds me of one of those 21-day meditations that Oprah and Chopra do, and it was the one on abundance.
Oprah and Chopra.
Yeah,
is that her sister?
Oprah and Chopra. Yeah, Oprah and Chopra. Deepak Chopra. Anyway, it was the one on abundance, and the one of the first meditations was like to notice abundance everywhere. And it was like, even he was saying like, okay, like on the carpet, on your floor, there's an abundance of like the threads there. On your sheets, there's an abundance of threads. Outside, there's an abundance of leaves and flowers and all of that. And like
windows.
No, and then that meditation got me super deep. That meditation got me super deep, and literally like everywhere, like even like when I'm like with the clothes that I'm wearing, I'm like, there's an abundance of color, there's an abundance of threads, there's an abundance of hair on my head, you know, just all of these things that there is an abundance. And I started to notice abundance as the energy flow versus being so selective and having it have to be about money. And so the more I energetically opened up to abundance as an energy flow, then more was able to come in. And then in terms of it being a flow, it has to come in and go out, right? And so I think we talked about this, Felix, the last time money came up, where I started this practice where at least once a week, and I have like this list of Venmos in my notes of mostly Black women-owned businesses, women of color-owned businesses, solopreneurs that I know, and I'll just like send them. Actually, you know, some of the people on here, I've sent you money a few times. I'll just be like, here, you know, your morning latte on me. And actually,
look, send me money, and I'll send it to Raul.
I sent Kat some money. This was hilarious. I sent Kat $10 or something, and I was like, here, have a pizza and a beer this week, because it was like during quarantine.
That's cute.
And she was like, oh my gosh, actually, like I wanted to have, I'm totally sharing your story, Kat, don't hate me. But she was like, I totally wanted to have a pizza, and like you sent that to me. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that message, or I'll be like, you know, for your morning latte, you know, get the extra foam this time, kind of thing. And they'll always like text you back and be like, I wanted a latte this morning, but I didn't want to spend the money. I'm like, well, there you go.
Did she say thanks a latte?
Yes. They always say thanks a latte with the and everything. All I'm saying is that actually brings me back to like bringing it political, like voting. Like we vote with our dollars, and I just purely believe in that. And as much as I can, I want to spend money with like local people, small business owners who I know. I want to hire people that I know, and especially people of color. And it's just something that matters to me. And I think having the money and the abundance and the energy flow be in alignment with our values, like that's how, like that creates like the momentum to like keep it going and going and going and going.
Yeah, you know what? What's coming up is like if I could share this, must have been last year, January or February of like 2019, I'm at a Starbucks down in Murray Street, coming out of the gym, and I'm facing with my coffee out and like looking out towards the window, and I'm like fixing up my coffee, and there's this beautiful woman that steps by, and she looks at me with black eyes, and she kind of just smiles and keeps going. Then she comes back, she looks at me, she comes inside the store, and I'm like, oh shit, she's bold. This is great. She comes in, she's like, excuse me, I think that this is meant for you. She gives me an envelope and she walks away, and I'm like, oh, her number's here? No, when I open it up, it says, thank you for being such a beautiful light in a world of darkness. Keep shining. I was like, what? Yo, that note right there was way more valuable than her giving me her number, than flirting with me. Like, it just made my whole week. Because to me, how I took it was like, wow, there's somebody who's seeing me in such a way. And what it made me do is it propelled that within me for the rest of the week. Like, I kept on continuously wanting to be that. Like, somebody saw that in me. Like, this is great. Like, my values are shining. I want more of that. And the more that I put out, the more I'm going to get out of that.
That's beautiful. That's a great story. You should tell that when you're like super rich and like inspiring the world.
He is super rich and inspiring the world.
Well,
right.
Right.
He just did
Who
it.
told you I wasn't super rich, bro?
Listen, time is just a construct of the mind. I actually told him in the past, and that's why
It makes sense, man. Makes sense. Yeah. It's the buzzed head, man.
I just broke the time barriers. You don't understand. You do understand.
Come on, Quantum Felix.
So let's see. We talked about a lot of different things. Money is energy. Be grateful for your bills.
Yeah.
Give money away. If you have $1, you can give 10 cents.
Yes.
If you have $100, you can give $10.
You always have enough, and that's a mentality, right? I don't have enough. For so long, this changed my life this year. For so long, it would be like I would have the money, and then I would be like, would be spending it. Right now, it just flows, because I'm not like holding on to it, because it needs to flow. The money needs to flow.
There's a science behind it too, right? There's just a rhythm, or there's a structure behind it. And money's one of those things that if you don't necessarily, I think a lot of people associate it also with I do and then I get. I do and then I get. And so what else can I do so that I could get? Or I could be doing so much but not getting enough in returns as far as like ROI, return on investments. There's one book I would really love to suggest. There's this book called The Richest Man in Babylon. If you guys ever read it,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a powerful read. It's built in through story form, but it talks about these basic, like, simple concepts around your relationship with money. And so if you guys ever read The Big Leap, also, in The Big Leap, they talk about the glass ceiling. And glass ceiling is pretty much a barrier that you don't see, that you can't really identify, but it subconsciously is there kind of blocking from proceeding and growing into whatever caliber. So back in the day, I remember I was dating someone that she's into finances. She's just into finances. And we were talking about it. And in that time, my glass ceiling was constantly $4,000. I always had $4,000 in the saving accounts. And I would like still do my travels and do that stuff. I would make it up to $10,000. It would come back down to $4,000. I went down to $1,000. It went back to $4,000. And I didn't realize that was my attachment to my work
real.
And how that shows up. And then I read this book and I went into a couple of different practices as far as the law of abundance and growth and like feeding the seed. And within a year, a little bit more than a year, just over a year, I went from constantly having $4,000 to up to $20,000. And that was the first time I broke that barrier. And it's just like the relationship with it is what shifts it. So yeah, I would definitely suggest that book.
I bought it already.
So
while you were talking.
So The Richest Man in Babylon, and then you said another book?
The Big Leap. The Big Leap talks about just like breaking through barriers and the subconsciousness and to get to that next level.
I need to add that to some of y'all know on my website, I have my self-love website broken down into 3 different categories: dating and relationships, money and abundance, and career and business. And so, yeah, Richest Man in Babylon changed my freaking life. It's so simple. It's written like a folklore story, and a lot of you know I like myths, and it just breaks it down so easily. And when I implemented the concepts, like money just kind of flowed. So if you go to my website, ameliafortes.com/money, and you click books, it'll take you to all the books that I recommend about money, which I'll have to add some of your recommendations on there. But I love the barrier piece, because that was a concept I learned at the Millionaire Mind. Have any of you been to Millionaire Mind? Anyway, it's like the basic, but like all about money. And we talk about it as a thermostat, right? So in a house, you have a thermostat, or in a hotel room or whatever, and you set it to 70 degrees. And so no matter what the temperature is outside, inside, the thermostat's goal is to regulate the temperature to wherever you set it to. And so we all also each have a money thermostat. I actually need to add this to my website, because I have a money blueprint exercise that people do. And so it's like, it kind of tells you where your money thermostat, what the house is going to look like, the design and the size and all of that stuff, how many floors. Your money blueprint basically tells you what your bank account is going to look like. But I won't go into that now, because I think we kind of need to wrap this up a little bit. But those are all really, really good concepts. I get so excited about the money thermostat piece. And so it's like, where's your money thermostat at? And like, raise it 1 degree at a time, even if you have to. And you do that through repetition, working with the subconscious mind and all of that good stuff. So, okay. Final thought. Let's go around. First of all, before we even go to that, can we just celebrate the abundance on today's Wind Down Wednesday? Yeah. I'm so glad that Raul and Rafael, you're both here. It's very exciting. I think it was also very exciting for the audience. Thank you for coming on. And we're talking about abundance, and look at that. We have an abundance of love and energy and ideas flowing here. So yeah, let's go around and just like one final thought to leave everyone with for tonight, and anyone can go first. No pressure, but pressure.
I don't know.
Where's it going?
I don't know what to say, so I'll go first.
Great.
Yes.
Right. So I love I actually read that idea of recognizing. Right. So I always talk about like being able to recognize, being able to be aware. That way you can start experiencing and start seeing more of that. So when I actually read that, like, you know, look at the leaves. There's an abundance of leaves. Look at the people. There's an abundance of people. And there's so many people that are like, but I can't find someone. Of course, you're in yourself, right? You're not in the space with other people. So, I'm gonna say this for me, like, this has been a tough week, and I'm just mega grateful that I came into the space, because it actually allowed me to transmute my energy and focus and refocus and recognize abundance again, and recognize how needed these conversations are in order to shift, right? Not just my perspective, but the perspective of the collective. It's to me, I'm just super grateful at this moment. So that's it. Like, I don't have anything. That's it.
That was beautiful. That was perfect.
I'm going to share. So what's coming to me right now, and the message that's coming to me right now, is that every relationship is an agreement. And every relationship that we have with money, with time, with people, with ourselves. It's an agreement on what we allow to occur to us. And though it might be a scary thing, I invite people to play around with your agreement. See is it serving you, and be willing to redefine and leave behind an old story. I think when I first came on the call, Felix was talking about this old programming that he's still dealing with. Though his circumstances might be different now, he still has that old programming. And identifying it is doing the work about it. Starting to do the work about it. So pay attention to the agreements that you make with yourself, because it's the byproduct of our reality.
Ooh, I like that. Thank you, Rafael.
Yeah. For me, one of the 12 universal laws, which is first one, the law of divine oneness. The fact that we're all here, that we're creating this synergy of love and abundance. It brings us like full circle to even like the conversation that we had earlier today at the cafe, Amelia, like how it is that we get to show up in relation to everything, right? So it really starts with how it is that we want to see our world, and understanding that how it is that we show up will correspond directly to what we experience. Law of oneness.
I love you all so much. You make me so happy. Okay, my turn. Final word, I'm a promoter, so I'm about to promote all your shit. So Rafael hosts Quarantine Cafe every Monday through Friday. Are you only going to do like a couple weeks left of it now, Rafael?
Yeah, we're going to do it until we reach week 20, which we are about a month away, which is amazing. This is something that started with just, let me do this once or twice. Let's get my friends and let's just talk about something. Now it's been amazing. It's been so great. And you guys have all been on and supported me all this time. And tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, I'm super excited because we're doing a quarantine at night. We're doing Thursdays at 8 p.m. And tomorrow we're going to be speaking on police in our schools. Being that we are in this conversation of defunding the police, this will be a great opportunity to know what that might look like, and also getting police out of our schools, what that's going to look like. And I got Daniel Russo, Deputy Superintendent of the Bronx, coming in to speak on that, as well as Vivian Anderson, who runs Every Black Girl Incorporated. So it's going to be fantastic.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So if y'all want to go deep and have an elevator conversation, definitely join the Quarantine Cafe every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Sydney, or 1 a.m. Sydney, actually, because we're worldwide up in here. And join the conversation. I mean, it's been a saving grace for me to be on that. I've met such wonderful people, and I learned so much, and we just share, and it's really all good vibes. And then Raul has a show, Say It Loud, that I was just on, and our episode came out last week. Do you want to talk about what you've got going on?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that I got going on is Say It Loud. It's a storytelling podcast where we get to hear from game changers. In my world, I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world and work with developing communities, utilizing storytelling as a vehicle to bridge gaps and create healing around the world, really support the people who are on the ground, helping out, doing incredible things for the community. And so Say It Loud, I actually launched it during the quarantine, kind of like my man Raf launched the Quarantine Cafe. And it's pretty much a storytelling podcast where we get to hear about not just what people do, but what's their journey been like. What was the triumph or the struggle or the moments from I knew when I was 8 years old, or I discovered that when I was 23, whatever that might be, the experiences that led them up to creating the change that they are creating in the world. And I'm moving out to every Thursday morning, 6 a.m. They get launched. It's on YouTube. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Just some good vibes. And Amelia was on with last night. Yeah, there you go. Last week with a powerful conversation, to make sure to check that one out.
Yeah, it was really good. And if you're on my email list, I'm sending the link out to our episode tomorrow morning. So you can get the links there. But it's also somewhere on my feed. So do some scrolling and find it. But all the captions are here. So that's what I want to say. And since we were talking about money, a lot of you know I have a podcast, and so one of my favorite episodes is with my best friend in the entire world, Jake, who was actually here for a little bit. I don't know if you're still here, Jake, but I love you, and we had a really awesome conversation about money and what it was like growing up like with immigrant parents and the money mindset that we had and how we had to like kind of level up our money mindset. And so if you just go to AmeliaFortes.com/podcast, it's episode 3, I believe. So you might have to scroll down a bit. Another fun fact that a lot of people don't know is that my podcast episodes actually have homework. So for those of you that like to do homework and do some journaling, when you go to the show notes or the webpage of that episode, there are actually some really good journaling questions on there, and I work really hard on them. And so I like to let people know because they really help you take the learning deeper. And that takes me to my final thought is speed to implementation is the key to success. It's great that you are all here on this conversation. I know you learned something, whether it's intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, cellularly, but the real change happens in action. And so that's the reason why I added journaling questions to my podcast, because I didn't want people to just listen to something. I wanted them to actually take action. So rewatch this episode millions of times, take notes, and actually take action. And it doesn't have to be a big action where you're like invest $10,000 into something. It can be something as little as doing the journaling questions that we talked about, or listening to the podcast episode and doing the journaling questions on there. The journaling questions on that one are my favorite because it actually has you kind of review, like, what did you learn about money from your parents, from your peers, from your culture and society, and to really dig deep and learn about that, because you can start to see your money blueprint. And then once you're aware of it, you can actually take action and make some changes. So that's my final word. Don't just have this be a conversation that just inspired you or, energized you. Have it be something that actually moved you to take action. And if you have any questions about that, you can always slide into my DMs and we can have a conversation about it, or you can comment. Felix and I always come in here trolling the comments and responding to things later. So that's my final word. And as always, Felix and I are here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, for the rest of our lives, apparently. And Raul and Rafael, you are welcome back any time. I love having you on.
Thank you guys for having us. Felix, it's a pleasure meeting you, man.
Yo, likewise.
Oh, yeah, you guys don't know it. Felix. Raul.
Oh, you haven't met? Oh my God. Gotta fix that.
I'm going to end the broadcast, but we could stay on for just a second longer. But I'm going to end the broadcast now. Good night, everybody. Love you. Thanks for being here. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Love you.